Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this video, we will present our interview report on how English literature is taught in elementary schools. This report is based on an interview we conducted on June 14, 2025 with Mrs. S.N., an English teacher at Bima Public Elementary School. This interview is part of our assignment for literature of English language teaching in 6th semester. In this short presentation, we will share what we learned from the interview, especially about how young students in elementary schools are introduced to English literature and how English literature is taught in their classrooms. Without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, the interview had several important purposes. First, we explored how English literature is taught in elementary school. Second, we aimed to understand how the teacher plans her lessons, selects materials, applies teaching methods, and uses media in literature instruction. Third, we asked about the challenges faced by the teacher in the teaching literature to young learners and how she addresses those challenges. Lastly, we gathered the teacher's suggestions on how literature teaching in elementary schools can be improved so that students can enjoy and learn more effectively. Next, from the interview, we found that English literature is not taught as a separate subject in elementary school. Instead, it is integrated into general English lessons. So, literature is used as part of language learning. For example, the teacher includes literature when students read short stories, fables, folktales, and simple poems written in English. These stories help students improve their reading, speaking, and listening skills. In the current curriculum, there is no special portion for literature. The main focus of English teaching is still basic vocabulary, simple grammar, and communication skills. Literature becomes a supporting tool to help students practice the language in a more fun and meaningful way. The teacher also explained that the curriculum does not provide any specific guidelines for literature teaching. Therefore, teachers are free to select the materials that fit the students' needs, interests, and language levels. Most of the literature used includes children's stories, fairy tales, fables, folktales, and easy poems. These are chosen because they match the cognitive development and interest of young learners. When preparing her lesson plans, the teacher includes literature in different learning activities. Literature is mainly used to help students improve their reading comprehension, speaking practice, and vocabulary acquisition. The teacher independently chooses the text. She selects materials that use simple language, contain interesting and meaningful stories, and are appropriate for the student's age and understanding. The chosen stories usually have clear messages, moral values, and simple plots that young learners can follow easily. For assessment, the teacher focuses on several aspects. First, whether students understand the story. Second, whether they can answer comprehension questions. And whether they can remember and use the new vocabulary they have learned from the text. Okay, next, the teacher uses a variety of literature texts such as children's stories, fairy tales, fables, English songs, and simple poems. To get these materials, the teacher uses several sources. First, English storybooks that are available in the school or library. Second, the school's English textbooks. Third, the internet, where she finds additional stories and videos. Fourth, animation videos, which help make the story more visual. And sometimes bilingual text, which are written in both Indonesian and English to help students understand the meaning easily. The teacher selects these materials because they are easy for students to understand, fun to read, and often relate to students' daily life and culture. This helps students connect the stories to their real experiences.
The teacher also used different teaching media to support the learning process. This media help make the lesson more interesting and easier to understand for young learners. Some media include first, animation video, such as that from YouTube Kids, which show colorful and fun stories. Second, puppets for storytelling, which helps students imagine the characters. Third, visual picture, related to the story to help students understand the plot and vocabulary better. And the fourth is English children's song, which helps students learn vocabulary, pronunciation, and rhythm in a fun way. And the last is interactive educational apps that allow students to learn English while playing games. So using this media, students can enjoy the lesson more, stay focused, and understand the story more easily. The teacher explained that students respond very positively to literary-based lesson. So the students show high enthusiasm because they enjoy listening to stories and acting out roles. And then students actively participate in class, especially during role play and group discussion. Next, literary lesson helps students become more confident in speaking English because they practice new words and sentences while acting or discussing. And the last is stories also stimulate their imagination and motivate them to learn more because they find the lesson fun and meaningful. Although literature teaching brings many benefits, the teacher also faces some challenges. First, many students still have limited vocabulary, so they sometimes do not understand certain words or expression in the stories. Second, there is also limited class time for English lesson, which make it difficult for the teacher to explore the stories more deeply. To overcome this challenge, the teacher applies several solutions. So the first solution is he uses picture and visual aids to help students understand unfamiliar words. Second, she uses gesture and facial expression while explaining difficult part of the story. The last is she sometimes gives simple explanation in Indonesian if students are still confused so they can follow the lesson easily. Despite the challenge, teaching literature brings many valuable benefits to students, such as first, developing student critical thinking skills by making them thinking about story message and moral values. Second, expanding student English vocabulary as they learn new words through stories. Third, improving student reading and speaking skills as they read, discuss, and act out the stories. Fourth, teaching moral values such as honesty, kindness, and responsibility, which are often found in the stories. And the last is building student interest and motivation to learn English from a young age because the lessons are fun, meaningful, and enjoyable.
Okay, next about collaboration and suggestion. The teachers sometimes collaborate with other teachers, such as Bahasa Indonesia or art teacher, to create simple drama project where students can perform stories they have learned. She also gives some suggestions for improving literature teaching. There should be more interesting and suitable literature materials for elementary students. Teachers should receive specific training to improve their skill in teaching literature. And then school and teachers should develop more creative media and teaching methods to make literature lesson more fun and effective for young learners. In conclusion, teaching English literature in elementary school is very useful for both language learning and character education. Even though literature is not the main part of the curriculum, it can still be included creatively by teachers. The success of literature teaching depends on the teacher's creativity, good selection of materials, and the use of interesting media and methods. Finally, support from the curriculum and teacher training are very important to make literature teaching even better and more effective in the future. I think that's all the explanation from our group interview. We hope it gives you a clear idea about how English literature is taught in elementary school. So everyone, thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.